Okay. All right, man. Good. Going live. I like it.
Boom.
All right. What's up? It's Brandon, the mountain biking real estate marketer, and I got Tim Hardeman in the house.
Let's go, baby.
What's up? So tell us a little bit about yourself and a quick overview, and then we'll jump right into the tip.
My name is Tim Hardeman. I'm a real estate broker and agent right here in this beautiful city of Atlanta. You guys can probably see it behind me. I started out in real estate in 2012, and I wish I knew this one thing. Like literally, it took me, I'd say 5-6 years to figure this out. And I think for most people, especially real estate agents, they never get to that point. They never get this critical piece of the business. And I learned this sort of accidentally. And so I want to tell you guys about how I started out, a little bit about my path, and what I came to realize and how I pivoted along the way, keeping this one thing in mind. So this is, let me take you back a little bit. We're in 2012. I'm finishing up my senior year in college. And I had these two paths that I wanted to go down. One, I was studying finance at the time in Atlanta. One, I said, I'm going to become a stockbroker. I'm going to move up to New York and do the whole Wall Street thing. And two, I'm going to explore real estate. So I get my real estate license and I finish up college. I graduate. I don't know how they let me, but I made it through. And I was faced with a decision. I said, okay, well, do I make that move and try to become a stockbroker, or what do I do now? And I said, well, since I'm already licensed in real estate, let me give this a go. A few months into it, I start really hitting it hard. And I remember thinking at first starting out, I said, well, I'm going to grind it out because I feel like I'm a hard worker and I can out hustle most people and really just do my best. And I'm going to grind it out for 6 months, and I'm going to be in Mexico kicking back, drinking little pina coladas with green umbrellas in them. Come to find out, that is not the case. If anyone on here that's been watching and been in real estate for longer than 6 months, you know how hard it is. And especially starting out, the way that it happens for everybody, and I've talked to hundreds of agents that become licensed, start the business, and then we sit down for this initial conversation. What do I do now that I'm licensed? Everybody starts out fired up. Everybody changes their Facebook job to realtor and starts sending DMs to friends and family. And then you start going to all these classes and watching YouTube videos. Do I host open houses? How do I find clients? How do I do this? How do I do that? You can get your business cards made and maybe even a website with your name in it. And over time, even if you're doing the right things, people say, well, you got to make 20 contacts a day, or you got to hold 3 open houses a week, or whatever your lead generation strategy is. You start doing that, you start tracking it. And what happens is you start losing motivation because you think you're doing the right thing. You're doing what people are telling you you're doing, maybe what your broker's telling you to do, but nothing's really happening. There's no traction. Leads aren't turning over. Maybe they aren't becoming pending deals just yet. Maybe you're showing houses, but nothing's coming from it. And your motivation starts dipping down. You start waking up a little bit later. You start taking lunch a little bit longer. And then at the same time, you start seeing your bank account slowly dwindle. And that's a scary thought. You get in this place where you reach that bottom, and that's when most people quit. They run out of money, and they run out of money because they didn't get to closing some deals fast enough to put it back into their business. So the way that I started out, I started prospecting a whole bunch. At first, I door knocked. Then I started to say, this is a little bit too slow. I need to go faster. So I met with a top agent in my market. Here's a quick tip for you. This isn't the main thing that we're talking about, but if you want to go fast, meet the person in your market that's already crushing it. Call them and say, hey, look, what are you doing? Because I want to copy exactly what you're doing. And I promise you that will save you like more than double of your time back. So I go out with this guy and I said, Reed, what are you doing? I heard you were a beast when it comes to phone prospecting and lead generation. I hit him up and he says, yep, I'm doing it every single day. Come into my office. I'm going to teach you how to call expireds for sale by owners and withdrawals. I go in Monday morning. It's 8 a.m. We're going through the script. He hands me the script. We're reading it. And he gives me this headset. He says, put it on, dial this number. I dial the first number. I'm reading through the script. And I'll never forget this one line. It was a Bill Crespo script. The line said, are you familiar with what I do differently that sells a lot of homes in today's market? And I, kind of like stumbled over it, delivered it, and I hear the lady through the headset on the other line, and she goes, no, what do you do differently? And I freeze up. I didn't know what to say. I got so nervous. And so I hang up the phone real quick, and he comes out, and he's laughing. And so that was my start into phone prospecting. I think for everybody watching this, one of the most important things that you can do is create a consistent lead generation strategy that you do every single day, day in, day out. If it's snowing outside, if it's sunny skies, if you got Thanksgiving around the corner or Christmas or the holidays or whatever it is, you got to do it and you got to hit your number. For me, that was 20 contacts per day worked. So whether it was on the phone, whether it was door knocking or whatever I was doing, I had to talk to 20 people and ask them if they've either thought about buying or selling a house in the near future. So I'm doing this. I'm calling these expireds and FSBOs. This is probably 2 years after that. And I call this one lady that had a house for sale by owner. I go through the script, and my goal was to either turn it into an appointment and go list the house that same day, or turn it into a nurture, which is essentially a qualified lead, because then I would add her to my database and follow up with her over time or with that lead. And so in this case, she became a nurturer, somebody that said, yes, I'm planning on selling my property. Yes, I'm open to using a real estate agent, and I don't have one in mind. And yes, you can interview for that job when the time comes. She told me when to follow up. I kept following up over and over and over again. And this lady, she's one of my favorite clients to this day. She turned 83 last year, and she's intense. She's ruthless. So finally, I kept calling her. She would hang up on me, and she said, I'm not selling. And so finally she said, all right, stop calling me. Come over to my house. Go to the house and talk it over. I wound up listing her house, and I wound up selling it for $20,000 more than what she thought it would sell for. And I think I just got lucky. I mean, the house was, it wasn't anything special, but we sold it and we got it done. 6 months later, she calls me back. She says, hey, Tim, I got another house that I want you to sell for me in the same neighborhood. So I go out, meet with her again, sign the listing agreement, sell that house in a couple of weeks. And again, it was for a premium. It was for higher than what she was hoping to get out of the house.
Very nice.
And this is when I learned the story. Over the next, starting from that point to the next probably year and a half to 2 years, this is when I learned the most important thing. That if I could go back, I would focus and spend so much more time and effort. And I would read so much more about this, because I believe that it's important to learn about these different lead generation techniques, and how do we get more clients, and how do we insert this type of verbiage into the contract to make sure that we win out with the highest offer and the highest and best situation. It's important to learn all that stuff. I agree. But this one thing will help you not just close a bunch of deals and get rich, but will help you whether you stay in real estate or not, because I know a lot of people that are watching this, a lot of new agents that are in business, most of them don't stick around. Whether you stay in real estate or you go off and you do something else, if you do this one thing, it will make you very, very wealthy. And your family that you either have now or your future family will thank you for doing this. So listen up. I sell that second house for her. and I do a pretty good job. I stay in touch with her. About a year later, she calls me and she goes, Tim, I got a few more houses I want you to sell for me. I said, okay. Tell me about these houses, right? She goes, I have a portfolio of 22 rental properties that I want you to sell. And this is on the outskirts of Atlanta. And these houses are not anything very impressive. They're low tier, low, I don't want to say low income, but they're not a house that you would see on HGTV. Let's just put it that way. So I go to her house. Obviously, I'm fired up driving there. And I'm like, I'm about to sign this listing agreement to sell 22 properties in one go. Go to the house. We agree on a price. The price was like 2.2 or 2.3 million. It basically came out to about 100,000 per house. And, like as I'm driving there, as I'm in the car, my agent brain is like, the wheels are turning. I'm like, all right, we have 2.2 million. What is 3% of that? 3% of 2 million is like, I don't know, 60 something thousand. I'm like fired up. Get to the house, sign the listing agreement, and over the next several months, I'm trying to sell these houses off market without showing them, just to somebody that'll buy them, essentially sight unseen, without even going in there. Didn't sell a single one, not even a single house. And I kind of let it go. I was a little bit disappointed by that. And this is where it all started to come together. I'm on a plane. I'm flying out to San Diego. I open up my laptop, and usually I have a goal when I'm traveling somewhere. Like before I get to this destination, I want to work on these goals. I want to finish out this project or whatever. And as I'm sitting there, we're in Atlanta, Hartsfield Jackson. We're about to take off to go to the West Coast. I was going to California, San Diego. And as I'm sitting there, I was like, what if instead of me trying to sell those houses, what if I buy them? And what if I buy them not just with a regular loan? What if I buy them with creative financing to where very little or maybe even none of my own money is coming out of pocket? Okay.
Wow.
So let me just break this down real quick and go into details on this. So if I sold that portfolio of 22 homes, I would have made, let's say, roughly $60,000 in commissions. Okay. That day on the plane, I sent her an email. And in that email, I basically verbally offered to buy her properties. Now, here's the tip. Here's the thing that I was leading up to. The money in real estate and residential real estate sales, the real money is made not in selling houses, but in buying them. Okay, let me repeat that. If I knew this from the get-go, this would have changed my whole life a lot sooner than it did. Okay, the money is made not in selling the properties, but in acquiring them for yourself and producing long-term cash flow. I send this lady this offer. At this point, she had 14 of those houses left of those 22. Send her this offer. The offer for 14 houses was 1.3 million. Okay, just under 100,000 per house. And on that offer, I write in there that I want her to finance these properties for me. So instead of me going to, say, Wells Fargo and asking for a loan with 20% down, I said, hey, will you finance these properties for me? And the down payment that I want to put down is not 20%. And 20% of 1.3 million, 1.4 million would be, I don't even know what that is, but probably 250,000, something like that.
Yeah.
It's going to be instead 50,000. And I want you to carry the note. I want you to essentially be the Wells Fargo extending these mortgages to me.
Yeah.
I send out these offers. About a few days later, I call her up. I said, hey, did you get my offers? And I thought she was going to laugh because I came in really low. I mean, I came out at about 65% of fair market value where the offer price is. And she says, yeah, I got your offers. And I say, well, what do you think? And she goes, well, it looks good. And my jaw just dropped on the phone. I said, really? I got so excited. I come over to the house the very next day, sign all the contracts, and I get these 14 houses under contract. I wind up closing on them in stages, and I wind up selling 2 of them. And I remember my down payment was $50,000, and I wind up selling 2 of these houses. I wholesale them. You've never heard that term before. It's basically when you, as a real estate agent or a real estate investor, you tie up the property, you put it under contract, and then you sell that contract to somebody else. Mm-hmm. So I buy one house, 45 minutes later, I sell it to the next buyer. I make $25,000 on it. Never even walked in there. 25 G's. A month later, I sell another one of those 14 houses, and I make $43,000 on it. So that takes our total profit to $68,000 is what it came out to be. And I remember my down payment was $50,000. Mm-hmm. So I just bought 12 houses for free and got paid $18,000 to do it.
Yeah. Wow.
And I thought that was cool. But every month I do this thing called a personal balance sheet. I just like to track my net worth and see how I'm doing my goals and how I'm doing financially. And I'm sitting there and I'm writing this thing out, and I look at these properties and I look at the equity, and I realize that day I became a millionaire. I didn't even know it. There's money in selling homes, but there's a whole lot more money in buying cash flowing assets. And I'm telling you, if you can take this one tip with you and study it and focus on it, you will not only retire early and become financially free, but you'll be able to pass something down to your kids, to your family, and they will thank you for the rest of your life. I promise you that. Wow.
Crazy. So you're saying that the money's not made in selling the real estate, it's in buying it. And it's, now to clarify, it's specifically for buying undervalue and wholesaling that and getting the person selling it to you to finance it for you. Is that going to happen with every situation, or are you going to try to find the needle in the haystack?
Good question. There is a lot of money to be made in residential sales, but the real money is in buying the cash flowing assets. They don't have to be owner financed. That's an example of how you can do it with little or literally no money down. Okay. You've probably all seen the infomercials or the books talking about no money down. That's one way to do it. But even if you can't do it with seller financing or no money down or one of these other methods, I would just say, just buy a house, buy an owner occupied house, live in it, and use as little of your own cash as possible. Live in it for a year, buy another house, rent that one out, do it again and again and again, just to get started, just to understand how does it work with these rental properties. The goal is, again, to create cash flow, because I know I have a small team. I'm the only real estate agent on our team, but I have a small team, and I'll sell about 100 houses this year. We're at 94 year to date. Wow. And I know that the guys that work on our team are incredibly talented. But if I'm not there, and I'm sure that a lot of people that either have teams or that own a business, when they step out of the business, it might run pretty well on its own, but it will never run as good as it could as if you were in there. So I just got back from Africa a couple of weeks ago. I was climbing Kilimanjaro, and the guys were crushing it without me. But I know I lost opportunities. I know I lost out on listing appointments and buyer appointments, putting houses under contract. And it's a transactional business. Even if you build a team in real estate, you can make a bunch of money. You can step away for a little bit, but you can never leave forever.
Mm.
And with building a portfolio that cash flows, I can leave. The houses, okay, the houses, they don't show up late to work, okay?
That's
They
right.
don't have sick days. They don't give you an excuse, oh, I got a flat tire or this or that or whatever. The houses are working. The cash flow is coming in, whether I'm at the office or I'm climbing Mount Kilimanjaro, whether I'm working, making calls, hammering out lead generation, expired FISBOs withdrawals, or if I'm sleeping. It doesn't matter. The dollars are coming in. And I don't know how about you, but that really helps me sleep better at night when I know
Oh
that
yeah.
the dollars keep flowing without me necessarily having to be there.
Wow, that's great. So to recap, you're still doing real estate, but you know that you're also in on the investing side, and you're saying for real estate agents out there that want to be where you are, you're saying the moment that changed it all for you when is that moment when you're on the plane and you bought that property and you decided that you want to be on both sides of the spectrum. Is that right?
The whole concept, it's simple, right? It's a simple thing. Just buy cash flowing assets. Essentially, buy properties that you can rent out.
That's
Um,
good.
it's simple, but it's not easy.
Interesting.
Okay. What I mean by that is I walk outside of here and there's probably about 30 different stores that got, nice clothes. There's a bunch of restaurants. There's all these things that, get us excited. Say, you see your friend driving a new car. Say, man, my car's kind of worn out. Maybe it's time to upgrade.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so easy to fall into the trap of saying, well, I'm seeing this guy or this girl on Instagram and they're traveling all the time. They're living this amazing life. Maybe I should take a trip. Maybe I should do this. Maybe I should do that. And we start spending money that we probably should not be spending.
Mm.
But if we take that cash and we put it into something that will allow us to make money on
Mm-hmm.
top of our money,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and then when you get some cash flow, then go buy the new car. Then go buy the fancy clothes or whatever you want to buy, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's I think the hardest part about real estate is because it's a sexy business.
Mm.
You see all this stuff, you see all the fluff on TV and on social, and everyone's driving fancy cars. But most people, at least most of the agents that I've met, it's not real. It's not real. You want to create real wealth. Don't go out and blow it on silly stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I get it. I like spending money on nice things.
Mm-hmm.
But more importantly, buy property. Buy the product that you're selling, that we're experts at, that we're helping our clients purchase and our clients sell. We're not buying it ourselves. That's crazy.
It's like you're selling it as the best investment that you can make, but you're not even making it yourself. At least.
Exactly right.
So you're saying that real estate on the investing and purchasing and cash flow side is the way to go. That's the big dogs. That's where the big dogs are. What can someone expect by making a shift in getting into the world of buying property and buying rental properties and creating cash flow? What can someone expect on the other side of that? Like, tell us a little bit about what you've experienced and what you would like to hope for someone that listens to your advice and starts getting into this today.
Every time I've worried about something, I started journaling when I first started in real estate. And whether I had a good day or a bad day or whatever was going on, I would write down my thoughts. And I noticed a common pattern. Whenever I'd worry about something, one way or another, somehow it trailed back and related to money. Maybe I don't have enough cash in the operating account to pay our team. Maybe I had all these expenses going out and I didn't have any closings coming in. Maybe it was that time when I first started out in those first 6 months when I'm super fired up, I'm doing all the right things. My bank account is slowly going down and I'm sitting there going on this appointment and I'm saying, dear God, please let me sign this listing today
Mm.
because I need it.
Mm.
Financially, I need it. That's a bad place to be.
Yeah. No.
And I hated that feeling. I'd look back and I'd read through it and I'm like, God, that's terrible. That's terrible.
Right.
And I feel like that's the cause to so many issues with people. I mean, it leads to so many divorces, the financial piece of it, right?
Yeah.
So I was like, how do I never, hopefully, experience that ever? Or how do I best set myself up to not have that problem? So I remember when I was 23 years old, I was sitting there. I was in Germany. I was with my friends. We're sitting there, and I told this the first time that I said it verbally. I said, I'm gonna become a millionaire before I turn 30. I didn't know how I was going to do it. And sure enough, I'm 29 years old right now. Sure enough, it happened through real estate. Well, my next goal after that, I was like, well, I'm making money. I'm doing pretty good. What do I want to do next? And I said, I want to take away this financial stress. And for me, the best way to remove that is through a little thing I call financial freedom. We've all heard it before, right? The definition is when the dollar's coming in from some kind of passive investment or something you don't have to spend a whole lot of time on, when the dollars coming in are higher than the dollars coming out, usually your living expenses like your rent, your food, your gas, and maybe some fun money, right? So what it did for me buying these properties, currently I have a portfolio of about 20 of them. I'm going to add about another 30 in the next year and a half. What it did for me is it created peace. I know it's not all about the money, but I would be willing to bet that if you had money coming in without having to work for it, you would sleep a little bit better at night.
Oh yeah.
And it's amazing. I mean, it's incredible when I can wake up in the morning and go to work because I want to go to work, right? I go to work because I want to be there.
Wow.
I want to teach these guys how to do the same thing that are on my team.
Yeah.
Not because I'm driving in the car and I'm saying, dear God, please, I hope I get this contract signed because I need to make some money to pay my rent next month. It's a good feeling. And I think it's so powerful to, one, experience that for ourselves. But more importantly, I'm not married yet. I don't have any kids. But when I do start a family, I want to be able to leave that legacy for them.
Absolutely. Yeah. Wow. That's awesome. So you're creating peace for yourself. Your portfolio is at 20 homes. You're going to be adding another 30 homes. So you're able to have that peace that you're going to be having cash flow coming in, and you don't have to worry about being in an appointment and praying to God that it goes through. And because that when you have that attitude, that's when it doesn't work out, and people can sense that you need it. When you don't need it, that's when it works out. So it ends up also snowballing effect, and you actually end up getting more closed transactions, I'm sure. So going from, let's say, someone that is starting out in real estate, or at least getting the ball rolling, let's say they have 10 transactions, 12 transactions a year. You have a portfolio of 20 homes. So, and you said that you made your first million in real estate. Was this before you got into purchasing homes, or were you successful with helping people buy and sell homes, and that helped you be able to get into investing? Or because I'm just trying to be the advocate for the people that are like, oh, how can I afford buying 20 properties? I have a whole list of things I need to do before I can get there. What would you say for people in that scenario?
It was a combination of the two, the first mill. Okay. Initially, it came from me being a real estate agent and selling properties, going on listing appointments, going on buyer appointments, taking houses under contract, taking houses to closing, getting paid a commission, and then taking that check and putting it in the bank, and then following a little system that some of you guys know called Profit First. Maybe that's something we can talk about in another video. But if you haven't read the book and you're starting to close 10, 12, maybe 15 deals a year, and you're saying, hey, I think I got this, I'm starting to figure this out, read that book. It's called Profit First. And it's such a simple concept. It basically talks about how you need to pay yourself first rather than paying for all these marketing expenses and not having any money left at the end of the month. Mm. So to get started, if you're thinking about investing in real estate, the way that I started out, it wasn't buying 20 houses in one transaction. I didn't have a whole bunch of money. The way that I started out is I wanted to buy a house for myself to live in that was close to my office. That way I could save time, I could be more efficient, I could wake up, hit my workout, go straight to the office, and get on the phones. That was my whole mindset. Mm-hmm. And I buy this house, it's maybe a quarter mile from my office. Buy this house with a regular loan. I think I put 5% down. And I was so excited. I posted about it on Facebook, and my buddy sends me a DM and he says, hey man, I'm thinking about moving to where you're at. You got room for one more? And I said, absolutely. And it was my fraternity brother, right? So good guy, he moves in. We start living together. Again, I'm close to the office. It's one of my good friends. We're hanging out, and he's paying my mortgage. I was like, wait a second. Yeah. So that's how it kicked off. It's 5%. Just get a normal loan from a bank. The first thing that I'd recommend doing, if you're thinking about doing this and taking it seriously, just take that first step. Okay, here's the first step. This is what we tell all of our buyer clients. What's the first step to buying a house? Getting pre-qualified. So just go and get pre-qualified. Call your mortgage lender and just say, hey, I'm thinking about buying a house. I want to put very little money down. Is there any programs where I can put 3.5% down? Or maybe you're a veteran, you can put 0% down. And buy a house that would cash flow. Cash flow means that your monthly payment broken down into your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance is lower than what you could rent the house for. Okay, so if we look at a house and you say, well, let's just say I can buy this house for, I don't know, let's say $150,000. And if your mortgage on that house is, let's say, $1,300 a month, right? You want to be able to rent your house out for more than $1,300 to create a little bit of a difference to where you're making money once you move out of that house. So obviously you live in it for a year, then you move out of it and you rent it out, and then you buy another house. And just start with one. I know it's overwhelming thinking, well, how am I going to build this real estate portfolio and become financially free and retire, pass on to my family? Start with one. I would also recommend, as you're driving, start listening to podcasts, obviously about real estate, but also start listening to stuff about investing and about how other people got started. One really good one is called Bigger Pockets. I'm sure a lot of people here have heard about it. And it'll help you become a better real estate agent too. So just start submersing yourself in learning about real estate investing. And I promise you, before you know it, if you just stay focused on the goal for long enough, it will happen. And if you're thinking about getting your first one, there's no better time of the year than to put that down right now into your 2020 goals. Buy one property. That's it.
That's it. Easy.
You know? Yeah. Plus, they'll bump your transaction count up.
Yeah, there you go. Wow, crazy. Wow, so you hear that, guys? Tim Hardeman's tip is to go ahead and jump into the game. You're helping people buy and sell homes, and it's your turn to get in there and buy your own homes and build up your portfolio and build up that confidence and portfolio and cash flow. Because now I feel like it sounds like now going into conversations to help people buy and sell homes, you have this cushion of cash flow that's going to give you so much confidence, and you're there because you want to be there. Like you said, you're not there because you're praying to God that this deal's going to go through so you can pay your bills. You're there because you enjoy it, and you're doing it yourself. So you can sell the dream of, hey, you're buying your home. Maybe this is your first time buying a home. Congratulations. I hope that you can look at my model of what I've done after I bought my first home, and then because I bought my second home. So it's not just about buying a home for you and your family. It's about creating financial freedom and creating a legacy. And that, honestly, is a big game changer for me, because since I've been doing this, I do marketing for real estate agents, and usually for most agents, I think it's about selling and helping people buy homes, and that's pretty much where it ends. But now you're teaching that you want to also get on the investing side of it. Sounds like you're actually going to understand a lot more about real estate when you're actually in it like that. And now you have a huge additional selling point for people wanting to buy and sell their homes, because now you've lived the real estate investing life and you've experienced what confidence gives you and the cash flow gives you and that legacy. Before that, you might just be selling a home just because they like it, because it looks cool. It's the right amount of square footage. It's the right distance away from the office, and that's pretty much it. And I'm sure there's plenty of people that don't actually ever go past that one property. Is that right?
That's exactly right.
Exactly.
And
so
the opportunity is there. I mean, it's in front of us every single day. We're coming across deals every single day. A lot of times when somebody commits to buying that property and they say, okay, well, I want to start with that first one. How do I find it? My answer is just start looking. Just open up your eyes. And I would be willing to bet that some of the calls that we are already making, whether it's, calling Zillow leads or calling expireds or calling through Sync leads or Boomtown or through Facebook leads, those conversations are there. We're just not thinking about taking it down that route. A lot of people on here have probably sold houses that could have been good investment properties and never even realized it, because they were in that same mindset that I was in, where I'm thinking, what's the commission I'm going to make on the sale? That was like my only thing, right? How do I sell this house and how much money am I going to make on it? I wasn't thinking about all these other opportunities that are right in front of us.
Wow. What a game changer, guys. So you hear that? Tim Hardeman's tip is get in the cash flow game, get in the investing game. Stop focusing on, don't have tunnel vision on just that commission. Get in the investing game, get into that long-term cash flow. You guys, so get in there, get in the game, start thinking big, and you're going to see yourself living the dream life just like Tim Hardeman here.
Let's go.
Yes. So you guys, Tim, tell us where can people find you? You're awesome. You know what you're doing. You are you're closing 100 transactions a year. You're building up a great investment portfolio. There are tons of people that can learn tons from you. Where can people find you?
Guys, just hit me up on Instagram. My username is Tim_Hardeman. That's TIM_HARDEMAN. And I post a lot of stuff on there, mainly of our team goofing around, warming up in the morning, some of the fun stuff that we do in the office. And don't be shy. Send me a direct message anytime. I read through all of them. I respond to all of them. And so if you have questions, if you're thinking about starting, if you want to jump on a call together or just bounce ideas or talk about goals or how to do this thing, reach out to me. I would love to be a resource for you. It's one of the things that brings me a lot of joy, is helping other people get going.
Wow. You guys, you hear that? Hit him up, send him a DM, get connected. He has tons of information that he can help you out with. And make sure to give him a follow. And heck, man, if you guys got any referrals out in Atlanta, make sure to send him his way because his team knows what they're doing. Definitely.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, definitely. So, Tim, thank you so much for being on Tip Tuesday. I know a lot of people are going to get a lot of value from this video. So, you guys, once again, follow him on Instagram, hit him up, and thank you for joining us here on Tip Tuesday.
Cheers.